So think of the seasons like in the economic cycle. So like the seasons have a winter, spring, summer and autumn, the business cycle also have similar patterns. There's different types of cycles. So there's a 11-year cycle, and also there's a 50-year cycle. So professors that know much more about it have said it much better than I have. But to summarise, think of the business cycle as in having its own winter, spring, summer, and not like autumn, like fall is what we call it. But so different asset classes do better in the different seasons of the business cycle. So for instance, small growing companies do very well in the spring. So if it's just had a recession, that gives space to small startup companies to solve meaningful problems. So they can start up. There's generally higher unemployment after a recession, so it means they can get top talent at low cost. If you look at some of the big companies, I think FedEx, Microsoft, even McDonald's all started up in recessions, and they've gone on to be successful companies. So in the spring, so there's a spring of a business cycle, so companies do better. I call them kind of the horses that we've talked about in different, the diversifying video. These are kind of bigger growing companies because there's more credit or more money available to invest. As the economy starts doing better, there's more money to invest in these companies and they tend to grow quicker. So these horses can gallop or jump. So these can grow really quickly. Then we've got the big companies. So as the economy gets really grows quicker, these companies turn into what they call elephants. So Jim Slater said it best when he said, "Elephants don't gallop." So elephants are big lumbering companies. They tend to be in the kind of the FTSE 100 of the FTSE 100 best-selling or biggest companies, I should say. So these elephants kind of lumbering. They're very kind of slow and these can fall. And if they do fall, then they can take the FTSE down with us. This tends to be the autumn or the fall side of the business cycle. This is where markets tend to be overvalued, and there's sometimes called like a Minsky moment. This the Russian economist said it best when he said that stability leads to instability. So because the economy is doing so well, people tend to become complacent and put more money into the stock market. That increases so that the price of the stock doesn't necessarily tie up with the value of the company, and they tend to the price of that company tends to fall along with the rest of the market. And that's the autumn of the business cycle. Then we come to the winter. This is actually in recession or depression. So this is where there's not much funding, there's not much credit available. Things tend to companies go bust in this time. There's higher unemployment where people tend to get laid off, perhaps. But the point that I guess the point I'm trying to make, it doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. There's no good or bad. It's just part of nature. So whether in the winter, this gives, like in a winter in a garden, this kills some of the bugs. Frost maybe kills some of the weed, and that gives light, that gives space for some of the plants to grow again. So like in a business cycle, some unproductive companies, so for instance Kodak or Polaroid, these companies, they're not around anymore because more innovative companies like Instagram have taken over, and now it gives us space for kind of more innovative companies to take over, to give it space for those to grow in the winter, and then it comes back to tie in with the spring, and this spring gives it new life. And so essentially it's looking at like the business cycle like nature. It's not necessarily a good or a bad thing.
Money mindset.
I think that sounds alright.